are about to go live. Okay, we're live. Welcome to the Evans Murphy After Party. We've got with us so far, we've got Nadine Callan, we've got Rach Ninja, or Doe-Eyed Atheist, as she's also calling herself, and Godless Iowan has graced us with his presence.
Yeah.
And of course, you're stuck with me and Evans as well. So this should be a fun conversation, I think. So. And Nacha has said that he'll join us as well, but he needs about 15 minutes or so. And Reese is coming in, and I believe, Reese is just joining us now. And and Brent, who's going to jump in here at some point, I think. Welcome, Reese. Thanks for joining. Ooh, hey, is that my pink tutu in the background that you stole?
No, it's my decoration for my black curtain.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Chiffony thingy.
Very cool.
I was going to say it's very bright where you're at, Nadine. I've never seen it bright there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I'm sitting on my bed.
Oh.
And so I don't have my backdrop.
I'm sitting on my bed too.
My arthritis isn't happy, so it's easier to sit on my bed.
Well, I get that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What was that sigh for?
My arthritis has been killing me. This is going to be the old atheist hour. This is
the old atheist hour. Salad days.
Well, I have it in my lower back and hips, and I'm like 99% sure I've got it in my spine, but they tell me I don't, and I'm going back again.
My spine would argue with you.
Yeah, exactly. My spine would definitely argue with you, and it's not fun in the mornings. I can't breathe. I can't move, and
ooh,
yeah,
that's not good. Yeah, I've got it in my spine. It sucks.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't have it there yet. Hips, wrists, fingers.
Yeah, fingers are bad for me as well.
My ankle,
you grab something and pick it up, try to, and then you drop it because you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I got carpal tunnel in my hand, so I probably got arthritis there as well, but I'm not sure which is causing the weakness, whether it's the arthritis or the carpal tunnel. So
I could be both.
Don't get old. Don't get broken.
Yeah, I'm looking through a lens of 20 years from now, exactly where I'm going
to be. Yeah, well, they say growing old is mandatory. Growing up is optional.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
So I just got, I went to my Yu-Gi-Oh tournament today, the first time in months that I've been. And I get there, and what has happened is apparently I didn't realize it, but today was a Magic sneak peek. So the owner of the store, my friend Buck, was like, "Yeah, sorry guys, there's not really a lot of room here." So he gave us a bunch of free shit, and he gave me a free box of cards. So I was opening the
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah,
I've been playing Hearthstone on my phone.
Yeah.
I just started a couple days ago, and I have been playing it like nonstop.
It's so addicting.
And so I hear that there are different rules between like this and Magic the Gathering and stuff, but I'm hoping it'll give me a little bit of information for when I have to go against Tatted.
It's kind of similar.
Oh shit, that's right. But you guys are actually going to do that, eh? You're having that big tournament or something?
He's wanting to have interviews and play Magic the Gathering while he's interviewing people.
That's what I did on my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. I used to call them interviewals, interview duels, and I would interview other atheists, other Yu-Gi-Oh YouTubers, or as we call them,
Yu-Gi-Oh players aren't all Yu-Gi-Oh players atheists?
No,
it's like you start on Yu-Gi-Oh and you become an atheist.
Oh no, buddy! One of my friends, Nathaniel, is hardcore Christian, and every time I bring up start bashing religion, he just like, "Shut up, Neil." Okay.
I used to play D&D with a guy that was super religiously conservative, and any time that like any kind of dark art was mentioned, he would like cringe and be like, "I really shouldn't be playing this." It's like, oh.
It's like, relax, buddy. It's just a game. We're not actually conjuring spirits and using spells. Like, relax. Oh man, yeah. Some of them get so wrapped up in that; it's just too funny.
I need to add you guys on my Hearthstone.
What's that?
I need to add you guys on my Hearthstone.
Oh,
yeah. I don't have any
shit.
friends on my Hearthstone.
What do you mean on your
It's
Hearthstone?
way more fun to play with people.
It is. It is. It actually is.
I've just been playing.
I don't have it on my new phone. I don't have it on this yet, but I'll eventually get it.
I've just been playing random matches with people, and then against the computer stuff. Just kind of
that's the best way to do it. Yeah, do the computer stuff first, and then play with other noobs too, and you both can get a better feel.
Yep.
Hey, Brett, how's it going? You kind of joined us there for a second, and then you disappeared. And what are you? The winter is coming. What are you all dressed up like that for?
Oh, I just wanted to match my profile picture.
Oh.
Are you the Unabomber?
The gray man.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I do own several tackle boxes.
Oh man! All right, let's see what's going on here. Let's see. It says I've got 10 people watching. One of them is probably me. Snarky, how come your other half didn't jump in here?
She's not feeling like talking much right now. She's just not feeling too good.
He's forcing her to do laundry.
Well, yeah, she's doing laundry as well, but at the same time, I told her not to, and she's like, "I want to.
I need to."
I need to. Well, yeah, if you need clothes to wear, you're not really allowed. They kind of frown on going out in public naked. So I got kicked out of Safeway for that once. So. Never mind. You know what I forgot to do though on my way home today? I like to have some beers while I do this or something, a couple beers or something. I completely fucking whiffed on that. So
what kind of beer do you drink?
Me? Well, I like either really, really dark stuff like stouts, like Guinness or Newcastle, or I like the other side of the spectrum, the crispness of a Pilsner. So in the summertime, I drink Pilsners exclusively. But when it comes to winter, I go to the darker ales and the stouts and stuff.
Yeah, same here.
The dark side.
Yeah, I go to the dark side. Well, I equate it with the lightness of summer and the darkness of winter.
I never liked you for a reason.
You did
quite nail it down before now, but
you mentioned getting kicked out of a store, Neil. I have gotten kicked out of one store. And I was a teenager.
Not for being naked.
No, I wasn't naked, but I was a teenager, and on a bet, some of my buddies mixed chocolate pudding and peanut butter, chunky peanut butter, and had me smear it around my mouth and run into a store and ask the first person there where the condoms and the laxatives were.
Man.
I did, and the person just pointed towards the door and was like, "Get out!"
Wow.
One Iowan, one cup.
Oh my goodness, dude, that is hilarious! Like, did you get this on video or anything?
No. It was before the days of YouTube, and if we would have gotten on video, someone would have had to have been carrying around a ginormous camera.
Right. Yeah, right. It's like the old ghetto blasters. Just let me grab my camera here.
Yeah.
It's like it's just made in bedrock on the side of it.
That's about it.
Well, I think I do have some scotch here. Because that's my other poison. Oh, fuck, it's empty. What the hell? Why did I keep an empty bottle? I'm such a fucking pack rat. I don't even know.
Well, it looked like there was a tiny bit in the bottom, so it was like I saved myself some.
You could bring that to the recycling and get your.
But you put the empty bottle in the empty box.
I do have the 50-year-old Glenfiddich. Yeah, I know. I like the boxes, but I can't crack this because This was the bottle that was given to me on my birthday from a friend of mine named Mikey. This is not a cheap scotch. This one's like 130 Canadian or something, which is like $75 million US. But that might be a slight exaggeration. But he gave this to me because I was at the time I was going through the tests to donate a kidney to save my buddy's life, and I have something about that after this too. And he said, it's really cool what you're doing, so I bought you some of your best, most favorite scotch, and we'll all drink it once the operation is done. And which, yeah, thanks. So you give him a guy a new kidney, and you're going to force him to start drinking scotch. Like he could have a shot and be fine, and just a celebratory thing. But you don't shoot scotch. But anyway.
Did you gave blood recently, didn't you, Neil?
On Wednesday, yes, I did, yes.
Okay, so how does it feel knowing that today that blood could be filling a boner?
I actually got a text. Did you not see my
I saw that. I saw that. That was awesome.
They just started doing that. Maybe
I got maybe you've seen the boner?
No.
I would just like to say that would be the best
not yet
for giving blood that I could possibly.
The best reason? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
always thought
across the board.
Would it be safe to have sex after giving blood? Because you don't have all the blood in your body that you did the day before. So if it all goes down, you're probably going to be like, oh shit, am I going to make it through this? But I got a message from Canadian Blood, not that you can even see because it's too glowy. But it says, your donation is on its way to someone in need because of you, someone can wake up healthy. Which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Someone woke up happy today because of Neil.
Yeah, someone woke up with a full-on rager because I donated blood. And I got to speak at the 20th anniversary for Canadian Blood Services.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they said the media guy called me and says, Neil, we would really, you're probably one of our biggest success stories here in BC, so we would like to have you talk. And I'm like, sure, fuck yeah, I'm a loudmouth, I'll do it.
I'm going on the 16th.
What?
Are you? Awesome.
Yeah.
I gave her your information.
I've never given blood before.
Yeah.
I think I've been relatively inspired by Neil's story here to do so. I'm a bone marrow. Be the match.
I thought you were going to say something else there for a second.
He donates his bone wherever he.
All right, I'm a male prostitute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thoroughly a donation in that case.
Yeah, that's not donation.
So, what did you forget, Neil? Frustrated is saying you forgot something.
Forgot to send him an invite.
That's I told him he could come in the next one if he was around. So.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, gotta go. Way to go for forgetting again, Neil.
I didn't forget, Russ. You weren't anywhere around.
he's going
like
now.
You need to put a bell around his neck or something.
I think. Badger wants to come in too, and Pikachu the Atheist wants to come in too. I don't know if I have enough room for everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
How many is it?
We got 7 in now. Yeah.
I didn't know Pikachu had a stance on the mischief. It's a new one to me.
Hang on here. I gotta find these people first here. Where the hell is everybody?
Here.
No.
All the cool people.
Dang.
Yeah, Russ. Apparently, you're not cool enough, Russ.
You're not one of the cool kids.
All right, there. I found him. Right.
Faye, I'm planning on dyeing my hair purple. Or it's a violet. I can't remember exactly what the color is that I bought, but I lightened it today so that the color turns out brighter in November when I color it. So, yay.
Looks like you have some blue or something in there.
Yeah, that's from my galaxy color that I had. That's the last bit when I had my hair dyed. Just after my dad passed away, I went and I got my hair dyed. It was the bottom part was gray and the top was purple and blue. It's like based on the galaxy kind of thing. And this is the last bit that was left of the blue.
Oh, okay. It looks all right.
Yeah, but it's brightened up a lot because I did a really blonde color, like a almost as blonde as I can go with the color of my hair. So it's I noticed that it really brightened this up because it was kind of dull before.
So we have to wait until November?
Yeah, something special happening in November.
Yeah, I'm somebody's coming in to visit me in November.
Oh, the Birdman.
All right. I don't know how many we can fit in here, but I'll send one more link to Pikachu.
Who is this mystery person that's coming to visit you?
I wonder who it would be.
Does he have feathers?
Yeah.
It's Big Bird.
He could be a pheasant.
Could be.
Badger.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing?
Oh my God!
Why are you so high?
Oh boy.
Is that a serious question? Why am I so high?
Oh jeez.
Oh man.
No, it must be so high because he fell off the air.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Even the
7,
chipmunk
8,
has the accent.
Yeah, we should be good. We should be good. Russ, I sent you a link, and Pikachu, I sent you a link as well. But there's still room for 2 more. So,
everybody's here.
I know. I'm like Oprah. Remember? That's what Snarky always says. You're like Oprah. You give everyone wrenches, and you give everyone links to your hangouts.
I don't have that. I was thinking about changing my profile picture to a wrench. That way, anytime I'm in a chat, I can have a wrench.
That's actually kind of genius, almost.
Almost.
Snarky says Neil is Oprah as fuck.
Someone's got their
That's Nacha. Come on, it's Nacha. Oh, why? Who's that?
Yeah, I wasn't playing the audio.
Oh, it's usually you're the culprit.
No, I don't even have the stream open yet.
Mouth, Nacha. This is a family show.
I'm so confused.
Alright, so you're telling me now we've got 2 chipmunks, we've got a chip jar and an Iowan chipmunk in the house?
Yeah, but see, mine takes longer because I'm just using it through Snapchat. So I gotta go do more work.
Roger's doing it now. Oh man.
Well, I mean, pretty sure there were 3 in the chipmunks group, so we need a 3rd.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm going to start yelling, Alvin!
See, I don't know that modulating thing. I'm just making squeaking sounds down a kazoo.
Hey, that works.
Go fuck yourself, you motherfucker.
So, Evan,
Hey,
Pikachu.
Oh, he's even got the hat on. Attaboy.
Nice.
So I sent Russ a link because he's all whiny bitch about it, and now he's not even coming in.
No, he said he had to go.
Oh, well, all right. Screw you then, buddy.
Hi, Pikachu.
Oh, I'm doing fine. See, I got my hoodie on.
Yeah, we were all just admiring that. This is sitting around here for so long, it's still got Christmas fucking wrap on it. So.
Just wait a few months, you'll be able to recycle it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. what I should do for my next.
Oh, you froze.
Better internet connection, maybe.
Midweek video and stuff like that.
Or your next video? You mean like topic wise?
Huh?
Do you mean topic-wise?
No, I'm trying to figure out for next week, just like who I'm going to debunk and stuff like that. Doesn't matter who, mostly Christians or something like that.
I suggest a theist.
Yeah.
Christians.
Well, yeah, no doubt about that.
Did you see me talking earlier? Okay, who the fuck's doing the laughing under chipmunky voice there?
I don't know.
You see earlier, Pikachu, that I got some free Yu-Gi-Oh cards tonight.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
One of the new stack. Yeah. Then I also bought another box as well to beef up the Blue Eyes stuff. So
yeah. So how much do they still? How much do they sell the original Blue Eyes, like the box set that it came in now? Like the
they're
first
still you can get them for $15-$20.
edition one.
Not the first edition. You can't even find those. You'd have to. Someone would have had to have kept one.
$500.
No. What?
Yeah, $500 brand new for the original box.
I know.
The first Blue Eyes came in.
Yeah, the Kaiba starter deck.
Yeah. No, it wasn't in the starter deck.
Oh, you mean Legend of Blue Eyes?
Original, yeah, the Legend of Blue Eyes, yeah.
$500 for an unopened box of those cards.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Did they see you coming?
No, I didn't buy them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, dude. I don't think you should be paying $500. You can probably just buy all the cards from that set first online, all the good ones, and still not pay that much.
Yeah. I mean, you can get. I remember I was wanting to sell them, and you can get for like 200, several thousand of them, just like that.
Yeah.
Off of the internet, but you got to be careful because you never know if they're going to be fake or not.
True enough. Yeah,
when I used to do Pokemon cards, I would just print them myself.
Really?
Why not?
See, all the reason there are those fake ones.
Yeah,
I ain't
it's all your
spending
fault.
50 quid to get a fucking the card I want.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. It's like this is the most expensive cardboard I've ever owned.
I remember they had a Charizard worth like $300 one time.
Yeah.
Graphic just.
Oh yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. But I was pretty pissed that we couldn't play our tournament today because that fucking Magic sneak peek was in there.
Nervous people.
There's like 30 of us sitting out in the hallway going, okay, now what do we do? So he gave away a bunch of shit to us. So.
Just play in the hallway?
Oh yeah, we sure they have like benches and shit out there, so we just.
It was like in the high school.
Yeah.
I saw a video of some guys playing poker in a lift once.
Well, we ended up in the food court playing some Yu-Gi-Mons over there. So.
Lift.
Cafeteria.
Yeah, no, it's a mall, so it's a food court. Or that's what they call it, but same thing, cafeteria.
One of the binders.
Choose pizza or Chinese or whatever.
This was one of the binders that I got from eBay, but I found it like all how should I say, original cards and stuff.
Imperial Order is worth some money, buddy.
Yeah. How much is it worth now?
I think they were going for about 20.
Oh, that's
Canadian, anyways. So
that's like $1.
Probably like 30 American. I got 2 binders over here full of shit. The other one's got Pokemon stuff in it, so.
I don't even want to show you my collection. It's right over there. But why? What's going on in the chat?
I don't know. I haven't looked.
Oh, Mrs. Snarky says that she's thanking me for introducing everyone to Evans Murphy. Because I thought, Evans, I'll be honest, I thought you were sort of following around most of these people anyways, but you will be now. Trust me, they're all going to be fucking adding you.
Yeah, so I've been on Twitter for a bit, but not a long period of time. So, and I'm not in the YouTube scene at all. So
no, we'll change that. Like I said in our talk earlier, your voice needs to be added to the pool, man. The more of us out there, the better off it'll be.
Yeah, because I mean, with you,
when I say that, I don't mean. When I say that, I don't mean because there's a lot of atheists out there that I really wouldn't want to see on YouTube. So, because some of their ideas, other than the fact that they share the non-belief with us, some of their other ideas are a little. So
that would be an interesting place to go.
In general, has been that everything useful that I have to say against a theistic position has already been said by people that were significantly more eloquent than I am, you know, and so I've really been looking for a niche to fill, and because there's so many good atheistic YouTubers, debunkers between Godless Cranium and all of the people, Godless Alwine and all of the godless people,
the godless crew,
the godless crew, and then the larger atheistic community at large, and so
they've been on there for a while. They've been like some of the old guys, Potholer and Theremin Trees, and these guys have been around there forever. So
yeah, absolutely. And so it's like if I'm going to go debunking theistic stuff, like you got to bring something relatively new to the table. And realistically, like everybody that's there is significantly more eloquent, well-spoken, well thought out, and have been dealing with these problems for longer than I have. And so, but
each person does bring their own perspective to things. Like it's not like if you just did your own video and it was exactly the words of another content creators, fair enough, but you would be bringing your own perspective to these things, so it would still be a unique video, even if you're covering the same sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree 100%. And so, because what I've been thinking about, especially, is in light of mine and Neil's
who's hammering on the keyboard?
Oh, sorry.
Jesus fucking Christ, Pikachu! Take it easy on your keyboard. You're gonna have to replace that thing in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was doing something unique by being an underground kind of creature, doing the debunking stuff. And then I found Moley was doing it as well.
Moley.
So my focus and has been here recently, and like I say, there'll be several blog posts coming out. There's a few that have been started, and more of a fleshes. It's where to go after you breach the doors of atheism. Not debunking theistic stuff, which is absolutely necessarily important, but kind of how to reorganize your life once you've lost the theistic side of things. And I think, and it may be something I'm just totally unaware of, but there's not a whole lot of that out there that I'm seeing, So, and if anybody knows of anything, just let me know. But I see an awful lot of debunking and kind of getting people to the point of deconversion. And then it's kind of like, hey, you're on your own now, kid. Because it takes a minute to get back to some sort of an equilibrium where you're happy and healthy in your life after you've completely reorganized how you view the world.
Very true.
Yep, absolutely. Now, Evans, what your
reasons arrived, and Brad.
Evans, I'm going to put your blog in the description, which I'm doing right now. So, what was the address for that again?
It's faithlesssoutherner.com. And like I say, it's woefully inadequate right now.
But at least you'll improve it over time, so people will
it's
link to it.
Very shortly, it'll be the the amount and frequency and we upload posts to it will increase.
Fair enough. All right.
I just had a problem with my VPN, so it went off. So I don't know if it's going to continue to stay, in there or not.
Why would your VPN have any effect on this?
So many hours. Oh, because every time it jumps off, it cuts the internet off.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Weird. Mine never did that.
Return.
Must be out of whiskey sour.
He's gone now.
My Linux won't connect to the internet unless the VPN is on.
Really?
Yep. It's the only VPN I could even find for Linux. So.
Which version of Linux are you using?
What's the VPN?
Ubuntu.
Pardon?
Ubuntu?
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 So weird. I don't have a VPN connected straight up.
Oh, no. It's just part of the VPN itself.
Okay.
But I'm using Windows 10 right now. That's on my other computer.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What you guys think about that Brett Kavanaugh being delayed? That shit.
That's all
the guy
mess,
he shouldn't even be fucking even in running or contention for this.
Yeah.
Like they should find somebody else completely.
I posted something on Twitter, and it was with Stephen Fry, and it basically, if I can get to it, it said that let me pull up my
hammer on that keyboard a little more. You need a delicate touch, man. I mean, I was doing my stuff and nobody heard shit.
It's the mechanical keyboard. I've got one too.
Some can be a lot louder than others, no matter what you do.
It looks like his mics and his camera's right up close to his hand, so you'll hear that for sure.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember I remember when I tried to
it's supposed to be loud and dyslexic.
Stream. Oh.
Well, I was gonna say you totally did just type load.
Thankfully, he typed load. Thank you. Yes. yeah. Nobody knows I meant there. When I tried to stream my practice, like our jam session, every time the instruments would kick in, the noise would just cut out completely. Oops. So it's and they said that they did that Google Hangouts did that because people were complaining about hearing tapping on the keyboards too often during their chats.
Yeah.
So apparently it's not working with Pikachu's.
Well, the mechanical keyboards are quite a bit louder than your regular.
What makes them mechanical? What do you mean? Like you're the mechanic that's hammering on the keys. I don't understand.
Okay, so this here is my new keyboard, and it's a lot louder. The other one I have is quite you can't hear it as well. Now what exactly makes it mechanical versus I don't know. But like I said, the other one it's doesn't have that clicky going on. I suppose
they just call it.
It's just a perception thing, kind of like the throwback from the keyboard or the typewriter days. You got that tip tap 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 tap.
Yeah, I think it's a preference thing. Like I like a loud keyboard when I'm typing, so I know that I hit the key.
Yeah, and this one I didn't have a choice.
Pressure.
It's the one that came with my computer, so I didn't have a choice. I still got the old keyboard, but I do like this one better. I like hearing the keys. But when I was working at one of the jobs I was at, I had heard this buzzing in my office, and I'm like, now what are the odds that a bee or some kind of bug followed us up the elevator and got stuck up here? on like a 31st floor. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I was wandering around the office looking for this buzzing sound. And I walked by one of the guys. It was him typing. He was typing so fast his keyboard was buzzing.
Oh, that's crazy.
He types at like 120 odd words a minute. It's ridiculous. I'm if I get up going good, I can hit like 40.
Yeah, I wonder if I can tell you guys real quick.
I type pretty fast if you compare me to Sloth.
Yeah, my internet was
or to most badgers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, they do, Reese. They have high rises here. And 120.
Still getting a little bit of.
Yeah.
This is the Mavis Beacon typing hour.
Oh man,
yeah, this is the meme right here.
What do we got
What do you
here?
guys think about this? It says,
I can't see it.
when are those douchebag ape brains from the GOP going to Senate going to realize that you reject Kavanaugh's confirmation?
oh man.
I don't
Get
even
me
know
started
what's
on
going
Kavanaugh.
with that.
Yeah, I don't. He shouldn't even be a candidate. If you ask me, once this came out.
No. Once
the
the
thing about it
accusations
is,
come out.
yeah, even prior accusation, all of the rape crap aside from his nomination, like he is so woefully inept to be a Supreme Court justice. If this is really the best that we can do, then we need to just hang up the whole shoot match. Abolish the Supreme Court. Let's become a theocracy. Like, whatever, you know?
No, let's not, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, like all of the sexual assault allegations completely to the side.
I'll be the
This
divine
guy
figure if you like.
Is First and Fourth Amendment alone should be enough to disqualify. Period. You know, he doesn't think like a Supreme Court justice should. And then you have all the other crap that came along with it.
Exactly.
But he likes beer,
the bad
though.
part about it is he'll probably be confirmed, and then Roe v. Wade and all the other crap comes up into play, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Well,
You know,
at least
but
we know he's not. At least we know he's not successful at his attempts.
Well, the thing about it is, this reminds me, and I'm from Alabama. And I don't know how closely y'all follow American politics, the people who aren't from the glorious United States.
I think that's just me and Nacha in this conversation. Oh, and Badger.
And
And
so,
Nadine.
What?
you know,
What
and
was I
Nadine.
talking about? No, not Nadine. Nadine kind of just barely notices what's going on. You guys are run
know,
by an
this-
idiot.
this is so analogous to the Roy Moore situation that we had in Alabama, where we had a candidate who was so grossly inept for the position that he was going for, and would still have won simply because he had that little R by his name. But it took multiple sexual assault allegations to get someone else in his place. And now
With
we've
minors.
got a senator. Yeah, now we've got a Senator Doug Jones, who I'm relatively proud of, but even for a Democrat, he's fairly conservative. I mean, you can't expect any better from Alabama, but you know, it's so analogous to what we went through in Alabama with Roy Moore and Doug Jones, that you have somebody who is absolutely woefully inept for the position that they're attempting to fulfill. And instead of that being the disqualifying factor, you have to have, when they raped a bunch of people to get them out of office. It's pathetic, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
No, you're right. I mean, if they're already inept and then you add this to it, like, why are they even being considered?
Yeah, I mean, it takes this. It takes the fact that they have sexually assaulted people in the past to derail the vote for him. And the thing about Kavanaugh is he'll still be confirmed. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that he will still be confirmed. And at least with Roy Moore, there were enough people in the Alabama political sphere and in the Alabama voter base that said, okay, no, enough's enough. We'll do anything to not have this douchebag in office. But that's not going to be the case whenever it comes to the GOP and Kavanaugh.
That's why we have the Second Amendment, guys. Come on. Load up.
That's right.
Well,
hell yeah.
They like to change or pretend that those amendments are different than what they actually are. I mean, you're talking about people that think that your country was formed as a Christian nation.
Yeah.
Oh, God, don't get me started.
My dad thinks that it was all Christian. That drives me nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. Look up the Jefferson Bible and tell me.
What I also
Treaty of Tripoli, man. Treaty of Tripoli.
The thing that I love the most is how people will try to act as if the founding fathers were all in agreement on everything. They were just the most pure and in one accord, and yet they were threatening each other. There were many times where people were challenged to fights over this stuff that they put in the Constitution.
Yeah, GI, you got in a little scuffle with one of my super conservative buddies on my Facebook over that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was not that these people were just people. They weren't like and
they were superheroes, dude.
No, that's what they do.
No,
it's like these were people who had.
Washington was packing heat, dude. Look at his monument.
They were people who had a 17th century education, and they were the golden boys of the time, mainly because they were rich and owned land.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Like Tesla.
It's just like they were just people. They weren't special.
They were farmers.
Yes, they were farmers.
No.
Well, they
understand.
were owners.
They were appointed by God himself.
Arbiters.
Moses handed them the pen, dude.
And justice.
Oh, it's just ridiculous. How, like, we live in a country that changes power once every couple of years, and yet we have to look at these founders like they were magic. Well, it depends on if you're looking at the House and the Senate as well.
Correct.
Flowing back and forth.
Right.
But we look at the founders like they were just this image of perfection, and like we had a vice president kill somebody. It's like, what the fuck? This isn't.
Was that Jackson?
Well, no, wait. Was it the vice president that got it? Was Aaron Burr and Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, it was Jackson on the White House lawn.
Yeah. Jackson on the White House lawn.
He was a whack job Christian though. He was the first Christian, actual like fundamental Christian that we had as president, wasn't he?
I think you might be right.
I think he was.
It was.
He looks like a vampire on the $20
bill. Not Andrew No, Alexander Hamilton.
It was Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton and Burr.
Yep.
Jackson, he just killed like all the natives. He no
big deal.
The natives to all
of.
What's the Trail of Tears anyway? I mean, that's all written out though. What is the Trail of Tears, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
There was some people. There was some people down here in New Orleans that were even saying, that the city should remove of the Confederate soldiers. They were saying, they should go after Jackson too because of what he did in the Trail of Tears and all that sort of shit. But I know David Duke and the rest of them held a rally that they didn't want him to move even that statue, you know?
Why would they?
Well, I mean, the thing about it
they don't
is,
wanna move
it's
it.
America, in general, our country used to be a nation that built statues, not tore them down. Like, get rid of the Confederates. Like, and I say that as an Alabamian. Like, you know, I'm as deep south as you can possibly get. But let's replace them with somebody that friggin' matters. You know, I don't give a crap if Jackson is represented on the state lawn. You know, but let's replace, instead of just focusing on tearing down the history of our country, let's focus on replacing it with something that is a positive influence on the nation.
Nothing bad has ever happened in Idaho, so I just want to get that out there. No racism, no tension, no nothing. That's my home state.
The Yukon potatoes. That's what's bad.
Yeah, all the potato state.
The golden Yukon potato, dude. That's the bad one.
Hey, Pikachu, do you have to be hammering on the keyboard right now, or what?
I think it's a broken piece in my desk or something. I don't know.
All I'm hearing is chick, and it's really loud.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was about to make that same sound.
It sounds like a bad connection from somebody rather than a keyboard.
Yeah,
so I keep thinking.
Yeah, the popping is coming through on Pikachu, but I don't think it's a keyboard.
Yeah, it's a bad coax connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
Right. Well, hang on here. Let's try.
What's funny is, like, when I was a kid, I drove my dad's old truck, and I had a Confederate flag front license plate on that thing forever. Never knew what it meant.
Really?
Never knew. Yep, 16-year-old kid driving around in a big old Dodge with a Confederate flag on the front of it. It's like, wow.
It makes sense. As a kid, you're not necessarily gonna know.
Tell that to somebody that knows what it means.
Yeah, no, of course, but you know, I mean, if you're a grown-ass adult driving around in it, I'd think differently. But if you're just a kid, yeah, I'd educate you on it maybe, but I wouldn't hold it against you.
You know what I love to do around Memorial Day or Veterans Day when it rolls around here in the U.S. Because you have all of. Oh, do you need me to be quiet?
No, carry on. I'm just seeing how I can unmute Pikachu because I can't fucking do it.
No, you can't. He has to.
No.
I was going to say the thing that I really enjoy to do is when I see Confederate flags pop up on my Facebook feed and says these were soldiers too, because you see that all the time. It pisses me off so bad. Southern pride. So I'll put up a British flag and say these were soldiers too.
Nice.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, VI.
Yeah.
I know.
Just do that with a picture of some badgers.
Yes.
These were badgers too.
Hey, can you guys hear any of the clipping or whatever it is going on?
Not
That's
now.
better.
Not now.
Yeah, I'm running on an XLR, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been having this problem. I had this problem with Steve and Kyle the other day, so I don't know what it is, but
You're running it on an XLR cable.
yeah, I'm running
For the sound, you mean.
to USB interface.
Okay. You might have just needed to wiggle it. Sometimes the connection can be a little iffy.
That's
Trust
what
me,
I think
I know
it is.
XLR cables, and they can be really fucking iffy sometimes.
Yeah.
Just wiggle it. Is
Well, it's not the XLR cable. It's the FireWire to USB cable.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sometimes if things aren't working right, I'll just wiggle it a little bit too and see if that helps it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if she wakes up.
Yeah.
Fuck, Matt. Always derailing, aren't you? That's what I love about you, man.
I like this topic though because it's so crazy that the South seceded from they seceded from the U.S. Now, no matter what you want to say, whether it was states' rights, well, what was the states' rights issue that they were going for?
Slavery.
They wanted to have slaves. If you want to say it was industrialization versus agriculture, what was the agriculture that they were trying to support? Slaves.
Slaves.
It was slavery. It had nothing to do.
But
it was in their constitution.
But
here it comes.
But
don't say but. Then you'll get him into butt stuff.
Oh, he's always.
But it was about slavery. It was about slavery, and then so now we have people saying, "Well, no, the flag is Southern pride." Well, the flag is Southern pride in people that were wanting to support slavery. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you not see that this?
The Nazis were soldiers too. Okay.
See, I'm feeling personally attacked right now.
Yeah, you know what would be the funny thing is to ride around.
You should
ride around the South with the communist flag and say, "Oh yeah, the communist USSR was soldiers too."
Yes.
That wasn't even the Confederate.
How quickly do you want to die?
Those other soldiers. They were soldiers too.
What were you going to say, Evans?
No, that's not a thing.
I mean, I try to take a bit more nuanced view of the North versus South debacle, the Civil War, the American Civil War, if you will, for all those who.
I feel like you were going to say the War of Northern Aggression.
Nailed it.
Hey, don't go too far north. We had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
Oh yeah, because they were running north of America.
I thought you guys blew up the White House or something.
Yeah. Well, the Canadians, the British burned it down. Yes.
While I understand
the war, that was the War of 1812, though. That was different.
Yeah, there you go.
While you understand what, Evans?
While I understand that there were tertiary elements to the war, such as states' rights and industrialization and things like that, the central premise of the war was slavery. And anybody that tries to get around that, like, you can say, hey, look, there was more than just we wanted our slaves. Perfectly valid analysis. But to say that it wasn't about slavery is entirely dishonest to the history surrounding the war. And we lost that war, and thank crap we did. You know?
Let me go do something real quick.
Almost slipped.
I'm not a South will rise again kind of guy. Like,
right.
Holy crap! If we'd have won, and like we were kicking teeth in the beginning of the war. Like, no mistake, the history of America would have been vastly different had things played out in just incremental phases. But thank whatever you want to, God, reason, science.
I say thank reality.
You possibly want to, that we were on the losing side of that. Like, and I say that as a South Alabama boy, you know, and like, to pretend that this war didn't have anything to do with slavery, or that was a tertiary element, is entirely dishonest to the history. And it aggravates me to no end to see, again, like I said before, we used to be a country that built statues, not tore them down, you know. Let's do away with the Confederate battle flag, you know, the rebel flag as it used to be called 10 years ago before we started putting a hiatus on it. Because Confederate battle flag sounds so much freaking better, you know. Like, let's replace that crap with something that means anything, you know. Let's get out of this idiotic, backwards way of thinking about things. Like, I mean, industrially, Alabama is a powerhouse, and the South is as well, as far as industry goes. And to cling to these idiotic notions of Southern heritage is just, it's absolutely shameful for anybody that has a brain that lives down here and that actually thinks through these things.
Yeah, thank whatever for the railroad. If it wasn't for that, we would have lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you guys ever seen the CSA, the Confederate States of America?
I was about to. I have.
Yeah, it's a great mockumentary about if the South had won.
That was a mockumentary?
Yes.
Oh shit.
I was gonna say one little thing about the statues in New Orleans. The thing is that in some of the statues across the rest of the South was that you have this one statue in the middle of a town center that has one little sign that tells not a true history, but the history that the Daughters of the Confederacy wanted you to know, not the actual history. And it's just one little sign in one small area that nobody's ever going to notice against the statue that's what? Be high, and, it's like everybody that passes, nobody's going to, when they pass by, nobody's going to even know, it doesn't even tell the real history, That was the problem. That's the problem with the one that was down here, the Statue of Lee that was down here in New Orleans.
Well, but I don't see why not remove them and put them on private property.
Yeah. That's exactly.
And then put another statue there.
Well, I know what the state of Germany did with what I heard what they did with the German soldiers was they took the German statues from 1930s and the 1940s that were Nazi statues, and they put them to monument parks, and they made monument parks out of them, and they started putting like signs saying why is this, saying about why Nazism is bad and about why this is this, etc. And I said, well, why did they do this
in a museum?
See, there you go. All you got to do is gather up all these statues, put them in a park, add a funnel cake stand, and call it Racist Land, and it'll be a success story.
Racist
I
land.
mean, that's capitalism. That is capitalism to a perfection. You would have all the racists could go there and
A racist
remember,
around.
And jerk off.
You can put a merry-go-round on there with no safety features. Just no bars. You just sit down on it and it throws them, and they're okay because they're already drunk. And
have the funnel cake stand called Sci-10.
Yeah.
Bergen cake. Yeah, put a little play area so all the people who are missing their buck teeth, have to move their mouth around and shit because they, used to chew chaw and all they do is drink beer all day and sit there with the fucking, Make America Great Again sign with the Confederate.
Are you watching me right now?
Sign.
I feel personally attacked right now.
Yeah, are you watching me?
There's a Bratwurst stand. Oh, okay.
Listen, Evans. We're not personally attacking you. We're just saying
No.
about your state is up.
Nah, man. Like, I live in this crap every day. Like, these are my trenches, if you will. And I don't know. People need to understand that in order for there to be a right side of history, there also needs to be a wrong side of history. Yeah. And just because the place that you drew the lottery from to be born in, such as South Alabama, as some of us, got lucky and drew, it doesn't mean that it invalidates your entire existence because you were on the wrong side of a war.
Yes. It doesn't matter what your sister mama said.
Came from this.
Yeah.
So what?
I said it doesn't matter what your sister mama told you. Real history happened.
Roll Tide.
No.
Sorry. Something I forgot to tell you, Evans, is that you're going to have to get used to this kind of treatment. But it means that we love you.
trust me, I work construction, so you guys are light.
We're easygoing.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
y'all
what's
are
funny.
easygoing.
Almost all of the atheist YouTubers I know are either in the deep south or in Canada.
Oh, yeah. Fuck you, Chihuahua.
Well,
You
not
don't
just-
exist.
There's a valid reason for that, though, because it seems is to me though, because we've got more to work towards in the deep south. You know, like there's more to be active against here, because fundamentalism is very, very deeply entrenched.
I do think if it's in your face, then yeah.
Hi, Sean.
I know more people who believe that the Earth is 6,000 years old than people who believe that it's 14.5, or the Earth is 4.5 billion, and the universe
most definitely.
is 14.4.
Were you there?
My parents are young Earth creationists.
Technically, the molecules that I'm made of were about the atomic materials.
I'm giving you a hug.
Thank you, love.
Yeah, no. I mean,
It hurts my everything when I hear people say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, the state of affairs here. The private school in my town, to the best of my knowledge, young Earth creationism is taught as a valid scientific theory.
Oh God.
Okay.
You know,
fine if it's part of a religion class, but as a valid scientific theory?
Yes.
This is taught in science or whatever you want to call it, right alongside of all the other things. And evolution is taught as just a theory, just something that people think about. You know,
my Lord!
It is terrifying.
But again, the private school in my town, just to give y'all guys an idea of how bad it is, it was racially pure, as in white. Was the first time that they had a non-white student in this private school district in a town that is 70% not white. And wrap your head around that for a second.
My gosh.
I went to an all-white school.
You know?
There just weren't any minorities. It's not like we would have not let them attend or anything.
No.
Yeah, well, same with me when I was growing up. There was nobody that wasn't white.
My town is predominantly minority in population. But the private school is, until last year, white only. I mean, to say that these issues are not, you know, and I hate this dumbing down that people do, you know, to say that these issues aren't important is a radical understatement. This is South Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, these things still go on. There are gas stations that I would be remiss to visit if I wasn't an open-minded individual, you know, and vice versa. So I feel like the rest of the world doesn't get a presentation of just how segregated things still are here, at least in the Deep South.
Well, and I want to point out something from the chat. Nacho Witness is technically from the deep South.
So south, he's upside down.
That's right.
Exactly. But no,
than any of y'all.
I totally agree with what Evans is saying about when it's more in your face, you're more likely to be an activist. Me, with being a former minister as well as living in a town with a kingdom hall and a temple for the Mormons, it's pretty in your face here. So like every couple of days somebody's at my door, and I know if they're the super nice ones, they're the Jehovah's Witnesses. If they're the ones that are kind of nice but you can tell they're gritting through their teeth, it's the Mormons.
Yeah, sounds about right.
There's something that I think Telltale would have a disagreement with you on Godless Island about that. With Jehovah's Witnesses, because they're only nice to you when you go and you do the things that they want you to do. When you don't do the things that they want you to do, they just like, you can fuck off,
Well,
it's an individualistic thing too,
and I think it's more if you're a member of that church, like with
I think so too.
and Telltale. If you're a member and not doing what they want, then yeah, they'll shun you. But like, we have people show up and they'll smile and they'll repeat the exact same verse, and it's like, it didn't work the last time. They're not going to work this time.
I've got some personal experience with the whole the JW thing, at least from an outsider's perspective. And my landlady, she wasn't raised in it. She treats me civil. She sees me as a daughter. The other lady that lives here was raised in it. I am a POS that she scraped off the bottom of her shoe. And she's only nice to me when she has to be, if she wants something.
Maybe it's because she sees you flirting in the chat with your boyfriend too.
No.
Give me a fucking toothache over here.
Yeah. Well, she's very unpleasant person.
I'm so lonely.
She's complex or something going on. I don't know what it is, but even my landlady is getting fed up with it. Yeah. So, and all the rest of the WWs kind of need the money right now for it.
So we got
up the rent,
black and white and everything in my little hole ground.
Yeah, it's not that it's not that easy to say replace her, because we're in a small town where there is, you need a car to get to, and most people renting don't have cars, so
you need a boat to get there.
There's
I live in a town with roughly 2,000 people, and we have a Kingdom Hall that has about 300 members. So they
don't even have 500.
Yeah, they tend to visit really often, and it's like, hi Ted, please leave.
Yeah,
he got
500 here.
2,500.
And they'll prophesize to me because they know I don't want it. They won't.
Yeah. I was gonna say around. You guys should record when they come to your house and try to do street epistemology with them in there, while they're there,
That's right.
And then just upload it to YouTube.
Okay, so I would, and I could probably do that with the Mormons some, but the Jehovah's Witnesses tend to completely close off to street epistemology.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
I mean, Nacha could tell you more, but
yeah, no, it is actually a bit like that. You try and they'll just, especially if they're at your door, they'll end up walking away or leave.
Yeah, the Mormons are more likely to have a theological debate with you. The Jehovah's Witnesses, if you start to question anything, they are on their way.
They run away.
Witnesses who hang around on the corner near the shop like that too. We should try having a chat with them.
Yeah, they used to hang out at the bus stop when I was a kid. They start preaching and yelling shit out all like at the people at the bus stop, and most of us would just turn around and tell them to go fuck off, so they'd move across the street.
The thing about the corner preachers is and I've vacillated between attempting to confront them and attempting to leave them alone, but I feel as though those type of people do more. So I just let them rock, because who's going to listen to the nutcase on the corner waving the Bible at you, talking about hellfire and damnation? Like you're helping
Reese,
me
did
out,
you say me?
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, let them.
Great
Let them
God,
finish.
Jesus loves you. Keep going.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all the. That's pretty much like Ted the Atheist. His whole spiel is debating Jehovah's Witnesses and all that shit at the bus stop and everything.
I see some of those.
I like Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. It's kind of like low-hanging fruit. I mean, I
that hurts.
No, don't worry. Not just an ex-JW, so he doesn't count in it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like debating somebody with the Church of Scientology.
My kids are Mormon.
That I can agree with.
Like Joseph Smith, really. I mean, honestly. And they're always like, it's Jesus.
I'm having a discussion with the Church of England person. They're they've got the standard religion going on. It's kind of it's all about the belief in the Jesus and all that. But they're British as well, so they're very sarcastic.
Awesome.
I don't know.
In my opinion, the best people to have a theological discussion with are like the Reformed Calvinist presuppositionalists, because they are so entrenched in their belief systems. They're so sure of their belief systems. It seems to me, and I may be totally off base with this, especially in the nature of the Calvinist people, but it seems to me that they have a more honest reading of the biblical texts, and they also have I don't disagree. Like, I'm not saying that these people are right by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that the Calvinist doctrine has a more honest reading of the biblical text than practically any other doctrine. And I find that presuppositionalists in particular are fun to have as because the arguments are so uniform, and they're reasonably believable to somebody who is tied up in that faith.
Oh, of course.
And maybe I'm
course
totally off base with that. But
anyone that's involved in that faith and they're using it to reason with them, they're going to follow along.
I don't know. I think I'd rather sit in a bathtub filled with lemon juice and start cutting my testicles with razor blades than talk with.
Oh, come on! I did that today. It's not that bad.
But the thing about it is at least you know where Sai's going with the conversation. Like, you're not going to change his mind. Like, there's nothing you can do to change a Calvinist mind. But at least you know exactly the course that the conversation is going to go, and what your responses should and could be. Because I feel like with people like with more
it just sounds like a cardboard cutout conversation then.
Yeah, with easy believism, you might just ramp off into cultural relativism, and then you're kind of left wondering. But with people who really take the Bible seriously, like the Calvinists, like the Reformed, like the RCAs and other people like that, with the Reformed theology, you know exactly what you're getting and exactly what you need to do against it. And to me, that's significantly better than dealing with the kind of Hugh Ross and William Lane Craig type of apologists, where you're kind of left wondering,
Anytime it's up on a screen somewhere, I want to throw something at it.
Kalam. The Kalam. Kalam.
Oh, fuck, I know. Shove it up your ass.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I think Dark Matter 2525 did it correct. In animation. Yeah, he showed that was it William Lane Craig doing a speech in one of his animations, and like everybody, half the crowd was like fucking falling asleep.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No, but
I'll give him this. He's good at what he does. And he's pretty personable. We'll say
great talker, very charismatic.
Yeah,
that's the word I'm using.
Order.
That's the word I was trying to use. Charismatic. Thank you.
The thing about it is if I were to be a theist, if I were to suddenly see Jesus' name written in the stars and be miraculously converted, I can't help but think that Reformed theology would be where I'd go, because at least it's more logically. I'm going to kick myself for saying this. It's more logically coherent than other forms of Christianity. And that's not to say that it's logically coherent by any stretch of the imagination. But at least they're not appealing to subjective cultural relativism whenever presented with the problem of slavery.
Fair point.
At least they're able to meet these topics head on and say, yeah, it was okay for slaves to be owned because God said so.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's consistent with the text. Apart from the truth value of the crappy Bronze Age mythology texts, that we can just set off to the side and say, hey, we disregard those, at least it's true to them. And that's one thing that I hate about this sort of new modern day kind of C.S. Lewis type apologist and Peterson type apologist is they're not even evaluating the text that they hold so sacred. There's no truth value placed on the text, and
honest liars.
I don't think anyone should be given any special rights to have their own reality, their own truth. There is something is either true or it's not, right? And
I saw a bit of toast that said God not real on it, and it's just as well referenced as many Bible stories.
was anyone here that's in the hangout right now? Was anyone here at the place when Wonder Lady joined and absolutely schooled Dr. Jones on his nonsense?
Negative.
No, I missed that.
Okay, here's the deal, and I'm gonna give her a big head. She just
go Wonder Lady.
Damn.
He tried doing his thing where he said, now this is what the text actually means, and she just jumps in and is like, you can't say that. You can't say that's what the text actually means. And he goes, well, I'm using the scientific method. You can't use the scientific method on a biblical text or an ancient text. And she schooled him so badly. I mean, so amazingly well that he was so butthurt, he rage quit his own show and then deleted the stream.
Not translating this literature is an art.
Yes. She goes, literature is an art. It's not a science. You cannot use the scientific method on art. And he tried to say something and then he played the whole persecution porn complex that I can't believe people are coming in here and being so mean to me. And she goes, you know what? You're pathetic. And that's the last line when she said you're pathetic, and he cut the stream and deleted it instantly.
Wonder Lady, that's fucking amazing. And it's not a hat, but I take my bandana off to you.
And the reason I mentioned that, Evans, is this Mr. Jones, Dr. Jones, whatever, is one of the most liberal apologists. He won't even say he's a Christian, but it's very obvious that he's a Christian by the stuff that he says.
Oh God.
So next time she does that, someone needs to make sure they're recording it through their OBS or something, just screen capping it.
And that's the thing. I think that I don't know. The current state of Christian apologetics, in my mind, is abysmal. You know,
Yeah.
Firebrand Faye. I love it.
And the thing about it is, and this is one thing that will get me kind of less than love in the atheistic community, is I'm not a strict anti-theist. As I said during our conversation,
you son of a bitch.
Oh, just quickly, one of the ladies in the chat pointed out he tried to switch it to linguistics as well.
Yes, he did.
Well, the thing about it is I view certain parts of theism as absolutely toxic, such as young Earth creationism and the belief in a biblical flood and things like that. But there are parts of theism, and my personal knowledge of people who are very, very theistic and hold these beliefs, perhaps for different reasons than I would, but at least they hold them sincerely and are honestly seeking the truth, whether they're where I believe the truth is or not. So I'm not a strict anti-theist by any stretch of the imagination. But
he's not one of us.
Parts, yeah.
One of us. One of us. Google, gobble, Google, gobble.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, you know, but certain parts of this are so ridiculously non-factual that
no,
I have a
it's
real
all
hard time
fucking
believing that
non-factual.
anybody actually believes it. You know,
I know. That's what I always say.
Especially the parts of like Revelations where it talks about like two beasts, like beast of the sea and the beast of the land and shit like that, and then Revelations 13 and all that crap.
Yeah, no, I was a Pentecostal for a fairly long life. So
you got that one wrong,
instantly
Pikachu.
known for me.
Yeah.
You know,
what?
And,
you got that one totally wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pikachu. I don't know what it was.
You didn't quote it right.
Oh, who cares?
No, I just said, you know, who cares?
Watch my Noah's Ark video. I quote some of it. Maybe, right?
Right? Maybe.
Slightly.
Check your Twitter, Faye. Faye, check your Twitter.
Yeah, I actually wanted to get a like if I ever had the chance to get a tattoo that does UV light with that makes it look like a little Mark of the Beast thing on my forearm and shit. And then get one of those Kylo Ren lightsabers, because you know the Kylo Ren lightsaber when you know, put it on my middle finger, and then when I flick off Christian, it's like, you know, oh shit, that's a fucking red upside down cross.
My grandmother used to say that the peace sign was an upside down broken cross, and so I could never wear a peace sign around her.
Damn hippies.
Ridiculous.
What is the Unabomber building there with his
Satanist.
lamp? I'm confused.
Oh, no, I'm just picking him a lock.
I was with the sunglasses and the hoodie and everything, and now you're using the
Oh,
bike.
yeah.
I was confused.
Breaking into a
if we
safe.
should be worried or not. You're like, them damn Southerners.
She's got the disguise. He's got the lockpick tools. I think we're starting to put you together, Brand. Everyone, don't lock your doors. It's pointless.
Modern day rogue right
Leave
there.
your doors unlocked, and then when he lockpicks them, it'll lock them.
Very good point.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah. I just blow shit up. It's the easiest way. Fuck the lockpicking. Just blow shit up.
I live underground.
EMT works on any door.
That's right.
See, I guess.
Oh, you locked your door? Say hello to my battery grab.
I saw Unholy Mole and thought he was MRA from what's that woman's group? I don't remember. No, it was Badger. It was Badger. That's what it was. Badger. I saw Badger and thought he was an MRA from that.
Hello.
I don't know if anybody else ever pays attention to that stuff.
See, yeah, I have, but I was
involved in that kind of stuff, but not hugely.
I was gonna say to Evan's thing, when it comes to me being an anti-theist, I would just take the most benign religion out. Okay, so let's say there's a religion out there that says everyone goes to heaven when they die. It's still harmful because it's prolonging pain when someone dies. You're still sitting there going, they're just outside my reach. Once I die, I'll get to be with them again.
False hope.
It gives you false hope. And from my own experience with a death that I experienced when I was a theist of an aunt that I loved dearly, the pain was so much more immense for her because I just knew that she was on the other side waiting for us. Then when my grandmother died after I had become an atheist, and I was spending time with her before she died, and I knew that this was all I was going to have, and when she died, she was gone. Now, it still hurt, but at the same time, I don't have any false hope. So I think false hope is even harmful.
You live in reality.
100%, man.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
I absolutely do not disagree with that assessment.
Yeah.
In any way,
I think there's something else too. Like a lot of people fear their family going to hell.
Yeah.
And they will push religion on their family just to speak so that way they can see them in heaven and stuff like that. And
they think they're doing a good thing by doing that too.
Yeah, and there was something I was going to touch on, and I wanted I was trying to tell Prometheus this, but I don't think he got it fully correctly. You have some people who are fundamentally theist, and then you got some people who are culturally theist, but they're only theist because their family members make them theist. And then you got those people who we all know, the red pill religion atheists who are cultural Christians, whatever. And then the other point is that you have cultural Christians who are atheists, but are only that way because they're involved with the religion and they can't leave it at all. And if they had the chance, they would leave the religion immediately. And then lastly, you have the atheists who obviously we all know is out and out against the religion altogether, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I would consider myself, I'm an atheist and my family knows it and they've known it for some time, but I still go and celebrate, I'll go for the Passover meals. I'll go for the Hanukkah meals. I'll go for the Purim festival or whatever, because they're my family and I'll go with them. And they know that I don't partake in the bullshit, so they're fine with that.
What about Yom Kippur?
No, fuck that shit.
Oh, come on.
I got nothing. That literally translates to Day of Repentance, right? So
exactly.
I got
That's what I was asking.
No fucking reason. And I when I was in Israel, you should see the shit that they do there. They don't even drive their cars, man. And if you're seen smoking, they'll fucking throw shit at you. Because that's considered working.
Well, that's 2 ways to get stoned.
And
2 ways to get stoned right there.
I would say that Judaism is probably considered one of the most liberal faiths today, especially when you're comparing it
more or less
to the other Abrahamics.
I got stoned super fast.
In Jerusalem, there's a section of Jerusalem called Mea Shearim, and if you walk through there on Shabbat, the Sabbath, and you're smoking or you're holding hands with a girl, they have buckets of rocks on their balconies and they start fucking wailing on them. And
like a school shooter.
And you can buy t-shirts that say, I got stoned in Mea Shearim.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's so crazy.
I had one.
I mean,
throwing rocks at you like you're a school shooter.
There was something else I was going to say to Godless Island here. The thing was, they had a gay pride parade every year at in Jerusalem.
So much fun.
And they had this one guy who went to jail for stabbing a gay guy in a gay parade. And 3 years later, he got released. And then when the gay pride parade came around again, he ended up stabbing another couple of gay people and ended up going back to jail again.
Jesus.
And he was one of those really, really fundamentalist Jewish people.
They're there. Yeah, they're there. There's lots of them.
See, I also, when it comes to my being an anti-theist, I look at people. Not everyone is a rational and reasonable person.
No.
No.
Not everyone is going to be affected in the same way by religious belief. And if you have someone that's, say, bipolar or schizophrenic, and even if they're in a more liberal theology, it can do things to them that it wouldn't do to the normal, everyday person in that church. I don't know. I mean, like, if everyone was...
It's all subjective.
Yeah, if they kept it to them, like, I know people who were members of very liberal churches that feel like they were very indoctrinated, like Cosmological. He comes from a very liberal church that most people would look at it as not being harmful, but he's anti-theist because he views it as just as dangerous indoctrination as the other faiths. But I mean, I understand there are people who aren't anti-theist. And I have friends who aren't anti-theists, so I don't hate you.
To say anti-theist doesn't mean you hate them.
No.
It just means you're against the doctrine they're pushing.
Yes.
I've been slightly drifting away from the anti-theist label lately. It's because I've been looking up the definition of it and considering my position on various religious views and finding that I'm not entirely against all religious denominations and beliefs. I'm just against the indoctrination, and I'm against the spreading of misinformation.
And
I'm against childhood indoctrination.
I was going to say harming children. I'm against harming children.
I mean, look, from my
and also if they get into power positions and try to influence others. Bye, Nadine.
Good night.
And they try to take away people's rights.
Excuse me, you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, bye. You're not on my.
And if they try,
I was doing it again. I was moving my mouse to try and shut down the Hangout, and of course, you're on my tablet.
Happens.
That's fine.
Bye. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Anyway, if these guys get into positions of power and then try to influence others and take away people's rights, then I have a problem with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the only thing
Absolutely.
I don't think that, at least in my mind, the anti-theist title, the label of anti-theist, is not equatable to those who oppose a theocracy or those who oppose and this may be a difference of definitions, if you will, and it does. Language games get tricky here, but I'm completely opposed to any sort of theocratic rulership. I'm totally sort of across the board. So if you are religious and you attempt to use your religion in a position of state problem, if you attempt to use your religion to alter the facts of history, we have a problem. I'm vehemently opposed to any sort of young earth creationism, flat earthism, global floodism, theocracy, those sort of things.
Okay. So you're anti-theist in that respect.
I'm anti-theist in that respect. If your beliefs contradict what we know to be demonstrably true about reality, then we have a problem. And I will fight to the bitter end over the things that I believe to be demonstrably true. If your beliefs are that there's an unmoved mover, let's take the clam or something like some sort of abstract like that. I think that's wrong, at least from my perspective. I think that's factually incorrect, or at least a wrong assumption to gather from the data that we currently have. But at the same time, from a utilitarian perspective, if that brings you some sort of utility in life, I have a hard time, except from an intellectual level, opposing that sort of belief system. And like, these are things that I hold provisionally, and I want everybody here to know that these are things that I'll waffle back and forth on.
Right. Sure.
So it's not; these are not hard set beliefs in my worldview, which is a terrible term. But at the same time, and this comes from knowing theists who, in my estimation, legitimately want to know what is true about the world. And maybe they've come to separate conclusions than I have, but their desire to know the truth, especially in relation to things like evolution and the age of the universe and the nature of the flood and things like that, are at least malleable, you know? And so I have a hard time. And again, going back to the chat that we had, Neil, is I think that we as a community do a poor job, and this is again going to get me ostracized here, do a poor job of replacing that theism offers. You know, we get people to the doorstep of atheism by saying your beliefs are shit across the board, and then it's
I don't think that's going to do it.
You know, and then it's kind of like, hey, you're on your own, guys. You know,
I don't know. I don't know if that's entirely true. I think there's many of us out there. I mean, we have organizations out there that are there to help people that are leaving faith, like recovering from religion, or like just things like that, right? Yeah. I mean, there are ways for, or there are people out there that are trying to take that next step once we, break them of that sort of thing. Well, not break them, but free them. I like that better. Free them from the shackles.
I think there's something. Sorry about that. I wanted to say a little something. Get a little. Something to note, because yesterday I said this to Kyle in a stream on something else. Kyle from the Non Sequitur show. That I also said to this professor, if you strip away their belief system using, say, street epistemology or something like that, then what are they going to fall back onto? And one of the things is that some of these people are going to go into, they're going to go and have some kind of, they could go in and have some kind of existential crisis in realizing, wow, God's not there, you know?
Sure.
And that's going to really destroy them.
Welcome to the real world.
I don't know. I had an existential crisis. It didn't. I mean, I went into a deep period of nihilism that I had to find myself out. Yeah, but I mean, I'm much better off now. I think what I would like to say here is, I don't think you'll find. I mean, you might find some of a vitriolic anti-theist out there that absolutely hates all of religion and religious people, but the vast majority of anti-theists are exactly what you just said. Like, I don't care if someone has a God belief. I don't care if someone goes to if they go to church.
Oh, they help them fight for their rights. I don't care about any of that. I care where anytime they try to exert force through their faith in any way. And by exerting force, I don't think that, like, I would go so far, children should not be taught creationism in regards to a science.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't have a problem with a parent saying, this is what our religion teaches. Sure, go ahead and say that, but don't teach it as science. So anytime religion tries to overstep their bounds that's where my anti-theism would kick in.
Bingo.
I would, and I've even said at times, there are some people that I wouldn't try to debate them in regards to their religion. Like when my grandmother was dying, I sat by her bed and I sang her church songs and I pretended to pray with her, because it would have been cruel for me to be like, I'm an atheist, Grandma, I'll die. No, she's 80 years old. So I sat by her and I pretended to pray and I sang church songs that she enjoyed. I wouldn't rob someone of something that they've cherished their entire lives. But I think, like, we can engage people. Like, if you're not on your deathbed, yeah, I'll engage you.
No, and like I feel like probably what's happening here is you and I are probably much on the same page as far as the things that we will tolerate from religion. It's just that our definition of anti-theists.
Yeah, well, and it's the same way with the definition of atheist.
Yeah, and see, I'm a philosophical definition kind of guy. I view myself as a strong atheist.
I am too.
So,
yeah,
and I view, like, and I hate to bring Steve up in this, but
yeah, I was going to say,
have a definition about, you can't have an argument about the definition of atheist without bringing up Steve McRae. Apparently, sort of unwritten law. If there is something that makes me believe that there might be a higher power, it's.
I feel like I should get him in here.
Like that, yeah. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And so, but I agree with Steve on the definition of atheist. I am a strong atheist. I take a positive stance that there are no gods, and I am willing to offer the arguments for there not being a God. And so, like, I don't think that we have any fundamental disagreements about the things that we would or would not tolerate out of religion. I think that we just have probably a different definition of anti-theist.
Definitely.
Which is perfectly fine. I think that's important in any sort of discussion to, especially in sort of willy-nilly territory where definitions can fluctuate, is to have an upfront version of what we mean by the words.
Yes.
Because to me, somebody who is anti-theist is completely and totally against religion in all ways, shape, or form. And that's not what I see out of people like Godless Cranium and yourself and others.
It's kind of what you're thinking of. You're thinking of Christopher Hitchens type, or something like that. Are you?
Poisons everything.
What do I?
To some degree, I agree with Christopher Hitchens, and I agree with the anti-theist plight. I'm just not sure, in my own experience, if the alternative isn't, in some sort of pragmatic sense, worse than the other. I'm not totally convinced of that yet, because I know the struggle that I went through in ditching my faith, and I know that, and I know the struggle that my wife went through in the same manner. And fair be it, I'm significantly better off now, and so is my wife, and so are the other people that I've helped through this process. My general well-being is significantly better on the other side, but there definitely was a valley to go through. I
almost wonder if it would be easier for us to point that out to them, of how much better we feel once we're out of that. If they could just understand that might help them a little.
They'd just
and it's interesting in, like, even the little things. As far as I stopped hunting after I left religion.
Really?
I don't feel that it's absolutely. Because
blasphemy.
We stopped killing spiders in the house. There's all these little changes. Absolutely. And it sounds it's a weird sort of You know, but it does.
I've never killed them
Technically true
personally.
of me as well, but not. I don't think it was related to leaving Christianity.
I mean, theism. I was given dominion over the earth, so like if I wanted to go out and kill 2 or 3 does during hunting season and harvest the meat, and like I would do more with the, say, in a hunting perspective, I would save the skins and eat all the meat and do everything possible with the
you use what you kill.
But I'd use what I kill. But you know, now at this point in time, I have a real a moral quandary with, which just sucks, because meat. You know,
and it is so good.
But these in my mind are great problems to have. Whenever I'm contemplating the moral implications of being a vegan or not being a vegan, like that's much better than thinking that God gave me some sort of an all overwhelming dominion over the earth, and I can just do whatever the crap I want to.
I've had vegan food. It's actually really good. Some of it is very tasty.
Yeah. Lies.
No, I'm serious, man. I was like, ew, no. And then you try it because, you know, you got to try it. And
Neil's correct. Neil's correct because there's a place like not too far from my house called Theo's that serves vegan pizza, and it's like delicious. Really, really good. Vegetable stuff, no cheese in it. Really
Tofurkey. As an omnivore, I will become a vegan when animals decide to evolve to stop tasting good.
I agree.
I think that's one of the
absolutely agreed.
And don't misconstrue anything I said here, because like I don't look down on anybody that eats meat, because I still eat the crap out of a steak. You know, like I love.
Do you eat the steak as well?
Yeah, oh man, dude, cows. That's the most tasty crap on 4 hooves ever existed. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
You gotta keep.
I like meat, and I'm not going to stop liking meat.
Can I just say?
I'm not going to say no to a vegan meal once in a while. That's all they eat, and that's what they're offering. I'm like, sure, bring it on.
I'll eat a puppy. You don't know me.
Here's what you do: you take your vegan friend out, and you get drunk with your vegan friend, and then you set a cheeseburger in front of your vegan friend, and see what happens.
That's cruel and unusual.
It'll be like watching fucking what's his name in that video where he's eating the fucking Hasselhoff when he's eating the fucking Whopper.
Exactly. That burger is gone.
Yeah. Oh fuck! Now I want a hamburger.
Come on.
I'm really craving one now.
The very first vegan that I ever met was like super strict, like the kind that just looks down on you when you're eating meat and complains.
Oh, vegan game site.
And then they went out drinking with a bunch of us coworkers, and like a few minutes into drinking, like maybe 3 shots in, they're eating a burger and having a milkshake, and it's like, what? It's different when it's willpower.
It's fucking brilliant.
When you drink, that doesn't make sense.
It's like third shot goes down, and I'm stripping off the vegan clothes.
Yes.
I'm not convinced that veganism is more fundamentalist than Christian, though. I mean, there are some.
Oh, I don't know. You could compare them in some.
There are some diehard.
You gotta see.
Out there.
Yeah, you gotta see vegan gains, dude.
And like I say, I mean, even and kind of closing the loop on this, like I don't
like Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't care if anybody eats meat, but the thing about it, in my perspective, isn't it nice to be contemplating the moral implications of eating meat versus the moral implications of, is it right if I own slaves or rape women? You know, because those are the things that the theists are worried
Night
about.
Badger.
And here
Night Badger.
Good night, Badger.
Yes, dude. It's like stupid o'clock where he is, so let him go sleep.
Well, and no, to go
He's
with what
nocturnal.
I honestly tried.
Yeah, but it's morning.
I was.
The sun's coming up. Badger's gonna melt.
Good night, everyone. Have fun.
Good night.
Good night, Badger. Thanks for dropping in, buddy.
I was going to say I was a vegan for about 4 months. And
wow.
And here's the deal. My gums started separating from my teeth. I had horrific gut pain all the time. I was confused as hell. And my body went through so many radical changes. I shit blood.
Fun. That's fun.
That's a problem.
And yeah, here's the deal. If you can eat only a vegetable-based diet without supplementing it with tons of supplements, then yeah, humans are probably supposed to be vegan. Or we could live a vegan lifestyle. But since you have to supplement all that stuff, it would be impossible to go on a vegan diet without supplements.
Well, the dinosaurs had sharp teeth, but they were vegan. I mean, before sin.
And I know people that have said, "Oh, you did vegan wrong," but I was following the exact supplemental guidelines for my size, and it did not work.
Learned your lesson, didn't you?
And I totally agree.
What do I have to say?
Like there's any realistic expectations that that my moral implications on veganistic diets will actually overtake my daily eating practices. But you know, it is hopeful to the theist who is struggling with things like genocide and slavery in the Old Testament to think that now their quandaries will revolve around whether or not it's morally acceptable beef, or you know,
just make sure it's blessed by a rabbi.
Absolutely.
No, because that's like the most horrific way to kill an animal.
Oh, I know, dude. I've seen them live.
Like, what the hell?
No, I've worked in kosher slaughterhouses before.
Oh man!
Yeah, see, you know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
they have to bleed them out.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely horrific. It's one of those that even as a Christian, it was like, man, this is screwed
I
up.
heard that. Tasty.
Well, I can see this one thing. We're going to try to keep Evans away from the Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse doesn't make a good steak anyway.
Oh, it's on!
Ooh.
Shots fired.
So how does everyone take their steak?
Rare.
Huh?
Mine's got to be fucking blue rare, buddy.
Medium.
Blue rare.
Yeah, I like medium
knock
rare.
off the horns and the hoofs, and we're good to go.
You have to supplement all that blood loss.
I'll
slit my own fucking wrist just to add more blood to it.
I used to eat rare, and then I got sick after eating a steak once, and it probably had nothing to do with the steak, but I can't eat it rare anymore. I have to eat it medium rare.
Psychosomatic response from
yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, it's just a psychosomatic thing. I can't eat it rare anymore.
Oh, I love it that way.
You have a lot of really good stories.
Are you still mooing?
I have a lot of
really good stories. You should like make a web series or something. It'd be awesome.
He has one.
I know.
That's what it's going to go on. It'll go from my deconversion stories to here's weird things that happened to my body growing up.
When are you on my channel?
The 10th.
Is it the 10th?
Yes. Unless you double booked me.
No. Yeah, you're right. You're the 10th. That's right. Yeah, so Evans Murphy I did today, so I can delete that. Hey, I just did Evans Murphy.
Not the
Don't
first,
take that the
not
wrong
the
way.
last, sir.
Like I said earlier, don't tell your wife.
I'll get into it. Don't
Tales
worry
from the
about
Church is on Monday, and then Mr. Eric Murphy from Talk Heathen will be with me on the 3rd. So
Eric's
That's
dude.
cool.
I need to get over my
Road
stage
wrong
fright
way.
and book a day.
yes, you do need to. I am now. I just opened up the calendar on here again, and I've got everything from Monday, October 22nd, right through till November 3rd is open.
Oh,
So,
wow.
We'll talk. We'll get you on here,
I have
Rachel.
to think about it. Because I know my birthday's coming up on November 17th, so I have to think about what I can, if I could schedule one or something like that.
We'll get you in here too, man.
Yeah.
And I think I tried to get Brant to do, but you didn't really have a deconversion story, did you, Brant?
No, I think it was something I said on Twitter. You're probably remembering. I think I said I'd love to come on and do a deconversion story, but it'd only take about 5 minutes, so it'd be over.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
much.
we could stretch it out. We could
Yeah,
stretch
we
it out
probably
and
could.
just
We
chat some
probably
other
could.
shit.
Yeah,
Mine would
I
be kind of short,
think
too.
my deconversion story took like 10, and then we just talked about random crap afterwards.
Oh,
which I
perfect.
had a great time.
Oh, it always goes.
Yeah.
Jesus, I've got like 15 hours on my channel.
I've watched
Right,
all of
dude.
it.
So we're gonna have to do a 2-hour special when I went here and do the condensed version.
Oh man.
I think maybe before we get together, just pick your highlights that you want to talk about. That seem to be the most important.
Bullet points. Bullet points.
Have you watched his channel?
I can tell you. I can tell you about how I broke my dick once, but that doesn't go with my deconversion story.
We can, not that it'll be a surprise ending now, but we could leave that as a surprise ending. But, yes, of course I've watched all of Iowan's shit, because why do you fucking think I'm a Patreon of his now?
Yeah, he gives me the money. He gives me the money, and Nacha gives me money. What's up with the rest of you fucks?
I give you money.
I would do it
I give the
if I wasn't in the situation.
Grant does give me money. He's my newest patron.
But to be fair to myself, I'm relatively new to this community. So.
True enough.
No, I'm just fucking with y'all.
We're glad to have you here too, though, Evans, man. Like, I could tell by the live stream that we're doing right now that you just fit right in with us. So you're one of us, brother. We'll,
damn. So
yeah, just watch out for Reese. He's a weird guy.
I've got to see him eat a steak before I can accept him.
Man, look.
I just remembered this. If I ever have a steak again, it would have to be well done, because I am scared stiff of E. coli.
Look, if you're ever in Mobile, Alabama, and you happen to find yourself there for whatever ungodly reason, go to Briquette Steakhouse and tell them I sent you.
Okay, I will. And if I am ever in Mobile, something desperately wrong has happened in my life.
It's screwed up, buddy. You find yourself there by
accident. It's like Bugs Bunny used to say, I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Nah.
Is this Canada? I was going to visit my Canadian friends. No, this is Mobile, Alabama, motherfucker.
Hey, you're in the deep south now, boys.
Yeah.
You're in the deep south now.
Hey, we have a southern candidate.
I doubt Mobile, Alabama is as bad as Kentucky. Like, I've driven through Kentucky, and Kentucky is horrifying the whole way through.
Have you ever been to Arkansas?
I have.
South Central Arkansas.
Yes.
Frighteningly similar to Alabama, except slightly more redneck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Could
really
you
not
be
sure.
more? Holy shit.
Yeah, no, because I spent about 2 months with work in South Central Arkansas, and whenever I got there, my thought was, why in the hell does Alabama have this bad reputation for being redneck? Because I saw
why do I hear a
more
banjo?
damn Confederate flags. Yeah, I mean, I saw more Confederate battle flags and lynchings in Arkansas than I've ever seen here. It was abysmal. I thought, dang,
and lynchings.
you know. here we are, Alabama. We've actually got our crap together comparatively to Southern Arkansas. And we've got the bad, you know, if you have a Southern joke, it's Alabama. And don't even
wasn't there somebody like who had this private property up in Interstate 65 that had like the biggest Confederate flag in the whole U.S. something like that?
Yeah, I've driven past it many times. It's awesome. It's a really big Confederate flag.
I heard the burn ban is over. Just saying.
Neil, do you have time for my Kentucky story?
Yeah, I'm going to go too. We've got a few minutes for sure.
Okay, so I was driving across country, and I had to drive through Kentucky. And I'm driving. I'm taking like the scenic route, which is the bad idea to go through Kentucky. I'm driving on this road, and it's out in the country, and it's a flat stretch. And I see this little bus stop where kids would sit and wait for the bus during the week. And it's a Saturday, so there's obviously no school going on, and it's in the middle of the country. There's nothing else around, and there's a kid sitting at this bus stop with no shoes, and he's just looking at my car the whole way as I'm going past it. I have never been more frightened of anything in my life than that fucking kid sitting in the country bus stop doing nothing. I don't know what he was doing there for, because there's no houses around. There's just this bus stop in the middle of nowhere. And he's sitting there looking at my car as I drive all the way past, just following me, not following the car, following me as I go past.
The scarecrow scared of the children of the corn.
I'm telling you.
I was going to say, I'd be worried if you had a banjo.
When I drove back, I did not take the same road, because I knew if I took that road and that kid was sitting there again, I would have shit myself instantly. And I saw
that's been my experience with Kentucky as well. For anybody who needs corroborating evidence there.
Same kid.
There's a reason why they got the Ark encounter in the Creation Museum, I guess.
Yeah.
It was
over there in Kentucky.
That sounded pretty fucking creepy.
The most unnerving experience of my life was a little kid at a bus stop in Kentucky, because I was sure, like, when I'm driving past, I'm like, if I slow down, I'm gonna die. There's no way if my car breaks down now, this kid is going to somehow kill me.
God.
He's gonna beat me with my own tire iron.
Exactly.
Take a wrong turn in lower Alabama. And I did this recently. This is a brief story. I did this recently looking for a job site. Somebody gave me an address, and Google got it all fucked up. And
as they do.
Yeah, and so I'm going down this dirt road thinking, there's no way there's a chemical plant down here. And so I pull up to this single wide trailer that has a man sitting on the front porch with a shotgun. And cockfighting is big in my area, chicken fighting. And he has in his front yard, I crap you not, if I believed in the Bible, I'd put my hand on it. At least 100 chicken cages, cock cages, in his front yard. And here I am, this dirt road, single lane, there's no way two trucks can get past it. I'm pulling up in this guy's front yard, and I'm thinking, holy crap, this is one of the few times that I'm remiss that I can't pray anymore. You know, where you're like, really, this would be nice if I could just issue up some sort of, please don't shoot me, sir. And you know, finally get turned around and leave from this guy's house. But that's kind of a normal occurrence.
Yeah, that would horrify me as well.
Yeah.
Welcome
to Wagerville, Alabama.
I would be peeing my pants right there. I'd be like, what the fuck did I just drive into?
Yeah, no.
That's one question.
Whenever you drive up to a single wide that is mostly cock cages in the front yard, you know you have taken a very wrong turn.
I had this question for Evans. I remember years ago when I had my old channel, I had said this, that, you know, Auburn, the University of Auburn, you can go like not a block or two off from the University of Auburn, to the first gas station, and the first thing you find is a fucking guy with a red truck and two white flags with the crimson cursive red A on it, and then on the back of it, on the back, crimson red Alabama written on it, and that's in Auburn. And I just was wondering, how much do they love? Does the whole state of Alabama love the Crimson Tide compared to Auburn?
Crimson Tide.
First off, I'd like to say Roll Tide. And
yes, that's right. Crimson Tide's something else.
Secondly, I'd like to say that...
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a period, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Roll Tide. Secondly, I'd like to say that Auburn is a good college. If you're going for agriculture, veterinary studies, things like that. But yes, Alabama football is first in line next to Jesus here. So the hierarchy of axiomatic presuppositions, to borrow Jordan Peterson's term, goes Alabama, Jesus, Auburn for everybody.
I just read between the lines there, and you just said if you want to fuck an animal, go to Auburn.
Well, Auburn can't even get their mascot straight. They call themselves the Tigers, and then they got an eagle as their mascot.
Look, dude, Auburn's battle cry is War Damn. So I don't even. That's not even coherent.
That's what? Oh,
yeah, it's War Damn. It was War Damn Eagle, but then they shortened it down to just WD. And so, I'm not here to bash on Auburn. Auburn fans are great. It's unfortunate that they're not as intelligent as the rest of us. But
more shots fired
against them. And so any of my friends who are Auburn fans that watch this will probably ostracize me. But no, it is true. It is absolutely true that in the parking lot of Auburn University, you will find Alabama memorabilia plastered over trucks, which are so large that they compensate for other smaller parts of the people that drive them.
See,
and I say this as somebody who drives a four-wheel.
And I can't fault you for any of that. I live near a town that was once considered the promised land by Mormons. They figured out it wasn't the promised land when they realized they weren't in slave-owning Missouri, but were in non-slave owning Iowa. So
is it the temple plot?
What's that?
The temple plot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all about that one.
That's really unfortunate.
They were about 3 or 4 miles off.
God dang it.
Yep.
All right, you guys.
I got to run to the hills by Iron Maiden.
Nice. It's great. Anyways, I got to take off because I got to get up to the beer store before it closes. So.
All right.
Okay.
Roll Tide.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, well, thank you guys for showing up.
Hey, this was a good hangout, dude.
Yeah, super fun.
I've been on.
I try to make them fun,
Way better than anything with Steve McCree. He always gets into too much math.
Okay, that goes with Brent and I. I'm sorry, Brent and I were in a discussion with Steve and an astrophysicist.
Oh boy!
We're just like, what the hell are we supposed to say during this?
Yeah.
What are we, tokens?
I almost felt that way. Yeah.
Oh
yeah, that's too bad.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Although I will say this one thing before I do go, I really wanted Steve to actually get Dr. Marlene Winnell from who was the lady who just trauma syndrome on to go on the non sequitur show, because I really would love to see her talk about the problems that religion causes with people on there.
Mm-hmm. That would actually be a very interesting discussion. For sure.
I want to see Dennis Prager on there.
Prager, fuck him.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
That could be the person she.
Fuck Prager. Fuck him and his whole fucking university.
I agree.
Every time I see his face, I fill with rage every time I see that guy's face.
That's a great end tagline. Just